This is Selma, Alabama, October 21st, 2017. We are at the Old Live Oak Cemetery, which is a historic cemetery there in Selma, founded in 1829 and expanded in 1877. To the left there you see the Confederate circle, the inscription on the Confederate monument that stands at the center of this cemetery reads, "There is glory in the graves." The oldest portion of the cemetery was purchased by the township of Selma in 1829. The newer section of the cemetery grounds was purchased in 1877, and it was combined with the older section to form the Live Oak Cemetery. The cemetery received its name in 1879 when a colonel named Dawson arranged for 80 live oaks and 80 magnolias to be brought up from Mobile and to be planted throughout the cemetery. So this is where you see all the Spanish moss growing from. The Live Oak Cemetery contains a variety of famous burials and a number of Confederate States of America connected features. So, one man's trash is apparently another man's treasure. One man buried here is John Tyler Morgan, who was an ardent racist and ex-slaveholder. He was an advocate for Jim Crow laws and racial segregation. Also, Edmund Winston Pettus, who was a Grand Duke of the KKK and a U.S. Senator. If that name sounds familiar, it's because the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma was named after him. That's the bridge that Martin Luther King marched across, the famous bridge. So, in this Confederate circle, the graves of the soldiers are to the south of the Confederate Soldier Monument, and there are cannons pointing north toward the Union, forever protecting the deceased Confederates. Elodie Todd Dawson is also buried here. She was later part of the Daughters of the Confederacy, and she spearheaded the effort to build the Confederate monument in the cemetery, and there were over 150 soldiers' bodies who were dug up and brought here to be buried around this monument. The cemetery also includes the Forrest Memorial, Nathan Bedford Forrest, who is considered a defender of Selma. They consider him one of the South's finest heroes. This is one of his ads from his days as a slaveholder. I'm going to read it word for word. 500 Negroes wanted. We will pay the highest cash price for all good Negroes offered. We invite those having Negroes for sale to call on us at our mart opposite Hill's old stand on Adams Street. We will have a good lot of Virginia Negroes on hand for sale in the fall. Negroes bought and sold on commission. Hill and Forrest. His annual profits from slave trading alone are estimated to be, in today's money, just the slave trade, over $1 million. Mr. Forrest was recognized as a leader of his community and was elected as an alderman in 1858. According to Albert Castell, who was a historian who wrote a biography about Forrest, said that he made his fortune as a slave trader and a planter, and that Nathan Bedford Forrest acknowledged the racial motivation for the war by stating, "If we ain't fighting to keep slavery, then what the hell are we fighting for?" After Forrest became the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, they together worked to scare and attack the former slaves, and that gave the basis for the white supremacy organizations that are alive and well in the South and elsewhere today. After the Civil War ended, he helped the South to win the political war of white supremacy and home rule. So, if If your wish is to be buried in this beautiful old cemetery full of racists, burial spaces can still be obtained for $300 apiece. Burial service fees are $300 for weekday funerals, $500 for holiday and weekend funerals. All services must begin before 3 o'clock in the afternoon to avoid late fee charges. If for some reason your wish is to be buried in the Confederate Circle, I wouldn't advise it, though. Those cannons didn't protect Nathan Bedford Forrest any after death, and they likely won't protect you much either. But I suppose that choice is up to you.